You've probably seen this before. Waymo's driverless cars have roamed San Francisco and Phoenix for years, millions of paid rides with no one at the wheel. We've stopped finding it strange. Here's what should still feel strange. In all those millions of driverless miles, we never answered the simplest question underneath them. When one of these cars hits someone, who's responsible? Who gets the ticket? Who's sued? Whose insurance pays? This month, Tesla made it urgent, putting cars on Miami streets with no safety driver from day one, camera only, straight into an open federal safety probe. The technology races ahead. The answer stays blank. For a year, Tesla did this carefully. When its robotaxis launched in Austin in 2025, a human safety monitor rode along for months before being removed. Dallas and Houston followed the same slow path. Miami skipped it. On July 3rd, the cars went fully driverless from day one. No monitor, ever. They run on cameras alone. No LiDAR, no radar backup like Waymo's cars carry, no remote human ready to grab the wheel. Tesla's own engineering lead confirmed it. If the software gets confused, the car is designed to just pull over. The service is fenced to about a dozen square miles, West Miami, Doral, Coral Gables, pointedly avoiding downtown and the airport. Why Miami? Because Florida asks almost nothing. The state requires no special permit to put a driverless car on public roads. It has courted these companies since 2016, and the law that allowed it came from next door. A Texas rule took effect on May 28th, and that same day, Tesla signed its own paperwork certifying it could run with no human oversight. In the background, since March, federal safety regulators have been running an engineering analysis of exactly this camera-only system after finding it can fail to see and warn in poor visibility. Miami is tropical downpours and blinding glare. The investigation is open. The cars are already driving. The easy fight is, are these things safe? Safer than us even? Maybe humans are terrible drivers. That debate will run for years, and it misses something. Because whether the car is safe or not, sometimes it will crash. Machines fail. And in that moment, a whole invisible system is supposed to switch on. Fault, punishment, payment, deterrence. That system has one assumption baked into every single part of it, that a human being was driving. So the real question isn't, is the car good? It's quieter. When you remove the driver, where does all that accountability go? Walk through what normally happens when a car hits someone. First, we find fault. A person ran the light, was texting, was speeding. That fault attaches to a human, then consequences fire. A ticket, points, a suspended license, maybe criminal charges. Then insurance recalculates. That driver, or drivers like them, pay more. And that price is a signal. Drive worse, pay worse. It nudges millions of people every day to be a little more careful. Crash, blame, cost, correction. The loop closes on the person holding the wheel. Now take the wheel away. Who ran the light? The car did. But you can't ticket a car. You can't suspend software's license or send a neural network to court. The fault is real. Someone got hurt, but it has no home. Every arrow that used to point at the driver now points at an empty seat. So where's the correction? The pressure that makes the next car safer. For a human driver, it's instant and constant. Every ticket, every premium hike is a small jolt felt that same week, nudging them to drive a little better. But who can actually make an autonomous car safer? Only the company that builds it and writes its software. Change the code, and every car improves at once. And nothing gives that company, the driver's fast per-crash jolt. There's no ticket for a line of code, no premium that climbs with each near miss. The one lever that reaches the maker is a safety regulator opening an investigation and, at the end of it, maybe ordering a recall, forcing the company to fix or pull the software. And that lever is slow, rare, and reactive. It swings only after people are already hurt. So the maker isn't untouchable. It's that the constant pressure that keeps human drivers careful barely reaches the one company that could make the car safe. That's the flaw. Not evil, not even negligence. It's that we built the entire machinery of road accountability around a human in a seat. Fault, insurance, deterrence, the courts, and a driverless car removes the human without replacing any of it. The arrows don't break. They just dangle in the air, pointing at no one. So, who should the arrows point at instead? 3 systems answer differently, and each pays for it. The first answer, point them at the maker. Treat a self-driving car like any other product. If a toaster electrocutes you, you don't have to prove the toaster was careless. The manufacturer is liable because the product failed. Britain wrote exactly this into law in 2024. For a car in self-driving mode, the company behind the system is responsible, not the passenger. The upside is powerful. Nyasao, the maker, now eats the cost of every crash, so it has every reason to make the software genuinely safe, and victims have someone real to sue. The trade-off, it's slower and costlier to deploy, and proving a software defect in court is hard. Push it too far, and you can strangle a technology that might, on balance, save lives. The second answer, stop fighting about fault at all. Fund a no-fault pool. Every robotaxi mile pays a small fee, and anyone hurt is paid quickly. No lawsuit, no blame. New Zealand runs its whole injury system this way. Victims win, fast, certain payment, but you lose the signal. When every company's crashes come out of one shared pot, a company barely feels its own failures, so it has less reason to fix them, and someone still has to set the fee and catch the makers who quietly skimp on safety. The third answer comes from the safest machines we've ever built, airplanes. Before a new aircraft carries a passenger, an independent authority certifies it. And when something does go wrong, a separate body, with no stake in the outcome, investigates in public and forces changes across the whole industry. Picture that for autonomous cars, cleared by an outside authority before launch. Every serious crash dissected by people who don't work for the company. It's a big reason flying is astonishingly safe. The trade-off, it's slow, expensive, and buried in bureaucracy, and a certification gate can quietly lock out everyone except the biggest companies. Notice what none of these argues about: whether the car is safe. They all assume it sometimes won't be, and decide in advance who answers when it isn't. That's the part we're currently leaving blank. Back to that empty seat in Miami. The car pulling away from the curb is the easy part to notice. What you can't see is everything underneath it. 100 years of rules, licenses, tickets, insurance, courts, every one of them built on the assumption that a person was in charge. We're now removing that person, and not just from cars. Software already decides who gets a loan, screens who gets hired, trades markets faster than any human can follow. Each time, the same thing happens. The rules were built to hold walks out of the seat, and the arrows of accountability dangle in the air. So the question this raises isn't the one everyone's asking. Is the machine better than us? It's quieter, and it reaches far beyond one car in Florida. When the machine fails, and it will, who exactly is still in the seat? Because if the honest answer is no one, then we didn't automate the driving. We automated away the blame.